Hello and welcome to Sacred Life Baptist Church. My name is Reverend Aaron Gray. I am the senior pastor. I know it has been a long time since we've heard from each other and since we've talked. Those of you that are subscribers, thank you for supporting us. Those of you that are new to the channel, please find a library and a catalog of years and years of sermons and Bible studies. We have a great array of different things to choose from and topics to choose from. We are currently under development and reorganizing a lot of the channel so that you can search by subject and topic. So that's in the coming months, we will be doing that. But with the COVID-19 and everything else that's going on, I took a little break from doing everything to settle everything down. There is such a spirit of fear. There's such a spirit of fear in this world that we live in right now, not just in America where I am, but all over the world. Although some places are getting better, here in Los Angeles, California, where I live, things are still pretty bad. Everything right now is still closed down for us, or most things are closed down for us. So I wanted to take time to get back into the channel, get back into Sacred Life Baptist Church, and what a way to do it than to start with the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. But more so because we always focus on the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. We always focus on the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. More so, I would like to focus in this situation on Lot. More so, the interaction between Lot and his two sons-in-law. Because from that interaction, we can see clearly how to deal with people in our lives, especially in this time and place where such calamity is happening. Not just on a spiritual level, but on an intellectual level as well. Because there's so much going on in this world. The Lord has given us a clear mind to use. It's not just a spiritual thing. People would like to put us in this spiritual place and say spiritual. While that is true, God has also given us a mind to think. If we don't use our mind that has been given to us by God and consequences come down upon us, whose fault is that? Whose fault is it? I've had so many discussions and not arguments, so I don't argue, but discussions and heated discussions with other men of God and other females of God that say that, oh, well, we don't have to worry about the virus. We don't have to worry. God's got us. So we're not going to wear a mask. We're not going to take any precautions at all. We're not going to social distance. Look, let me tell you like this. If you don't know somebody that's sick, I do. I know people that have lost family members from this illness. So I would like to say right now, it's not a political issue. There are politics involved, but that's not what's at stake here. Right now, what we're dealing with is an illness. Because of that, God has given us a clear mind with which to think. And a clear mind to use. So if you believe that the government is doing this and doing that, if you are a person that's a truther and believes that 9/11 was done by the government, if you believe that the government would actually bomb its own towers and kill hundreds of people, what makes you think the government won't send a virus? If you're one of those people. What I would suggest to you is take precautions. And if the virus is false, then the precautions can't hurt, right? And if the virus is true, then all you're doing is saving yours and somebody else's life. Having said that, let's go to Genesis 19. Genesis 19, starting at verse 12. And the men said unto Lot, Hast thou here any besides son-in-law, and thy sons, and thy daughters? And whosoever thou hast in the city, bring them out of this place. 13. For we will destroy this place, because the cry of them is waxen great before the face of the Lord, and the Lord hath sent us to destroy it. 14. And Lot went out and spoke unto his sons-in-law, which married his daughters, and said, Up, get you out of this place, for the Lord will destroy it. Here's the key. Here's the key. But he seemed as one that mocked unto his sons-in-law. Okay? So another reading of it says, but he seemed to his sons-in-law to be in jesting or joking. So they took him as a joke. They took him as a joke. This is what I want you to understand, Christians. And if you're a non-Christian and you happen upon the channel, I want you to understand this too. God is not to be joked or played with. There is no in-between. There is no middle ground. There is no place where you can stand and say, oh, well, God's just joking. Let me explain to you. There's either believers of God or not. There is no in-between. Now, if you turn on TV, you listen to some of the songs and the music, you will hear people making fun of and joking about God. They will tell all these funny jokes, and you'll laugh, haha. There's a cartoon on right now that depicts Jesus and has him running around and having anal sex with people. All types of things on this cartoon, and it's amazing. I sit back and I watched it for quite a while until he really got into this Jesus thing, and I was like, why did they have to bring Jesus into it? It was funny as it was. Why did they have to do that? I'll tell you why they had to do that. Because they have the same spirit as the sons-in-law. They thought everything was a joke. They thought that God was a joke. They thought that God was funny. And the problem is, we as Lot, we understand that God is going to destroy everything. When he comes back, I want you to really get this. We need to be preparing for God to come back, whether it's tomorrow, whether it's 10 years from now, whether it's 100 years from now. We should be ever preparing for God to come back, because God isn't coming back like he first came. He first came with love, and he first came to redeem. The second time he comes back with judgment. And when he comes back with judgment, it is the same. This is an example of what happened in Sodom and Gomorrah. That was judgment. God didn't go to Sodom and Gomorrah in hopes. God knew what was in Sodom and Gomorrah. That's why when he was talking to Abraham, and Abraham said, well, if there's 10 people, will you not destroy it? And God said, sure, if there's 10, I won't destroy it. Because God already knew that it was so depraved that there wasn't 10 people. So when he got to Sodom and Gomorrah, there was only Lot and his family. And technically, and here's the sad part about it, this is what I want you to really get. Lot's son-in-laws could have been saved from the destruction. When Lot came to him, when Lot came to those two, they were in the path of being saved. They were so close. All they had to do was believe and leave. That's all they had to do. But they thought it was a joke. Everything's so funny now. Everything's a joke. Everything is ha ha. You see, I turn on TV and I watch the news and I see people dancing around and having coronavirus parties and having all types. Everything's a joke in this society. Everything is funny. I don't understand the mindset of these people. Everything is a joke and funny now. But then when somebody gets it, now it's not funny. Now when somebody's dying, oh, well, God save me. And wait, I thought it was funny. I thought Jesus was funny. Now that you're in a hospital, now he's not funny, right? Now when you're feeling sick, now when somebody gets shot and they're laying, now God is not funny. But God can be funny and laugh, and you can make a cartoon about him, and you can laugh about him, and you can joke about him. And you can make whole TV shows about how the church is all messed up and the pastor and everybody else. Everything is so funny now in this society. Everything is a meme. Everything is a joke. That's the trick of Satan, because God is not joking around. My prayer for this world is that Jesus gives us one more day to get it right. Every day, my prayer is that not for God to come back. Because if God comes back, I'm pretty sure me and my family are going to be fine. I'm pretty sure that we're going to be okay when God comes for judgment. He's going to say, why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? Because, I'm not perfect. But then at the end of the day, we're covered by the blood of the Lamb. We're going to be fine. My prayer is not that Jesus doesn't come back for me. My prayer is that Jesus doesn't come back for the world. Because when he comes back the same way that he came in Sodom and Gomorrah. Total destruction. He comes back to judge. He comes back to judge. And the same way that people are taking this virus is the same way that people are taking God, is the same way they're taking these elections, is the same way that people are taking all of this. Everything's a joke now. Everything is funny now. Everything is jest. Everything is ha ha. We have a president and they make a meme of the president. You know that man can cause total war if he wanted to. Right now. The president is not an office that is a joke. He is the most powerful man in the world. Who will be our next president is also not a joke. That man or woman, whoever it happens to be, is the most powerful person. We can cause total war and destroy all of us with nuclear war with the push of the president's finger. So I want you to understand that we don't live in a time that's a joke. We don't live in a time that's funny. We don't live in a time that's all filled with memes. We live in a very serious time. So when I see young people dancing around having parties without masks, what are you doing? You see, everything is a joke. Everything is funny. So how do we answer that, you might say? If you're watching this channel, you probably don't believe it's a joke. If you're watching this channel, you believe that everything is serious. So how do we answer that? Here's how we answer. If Lot had stayed talking to these fools, he would have got destroyed in a fire too. If Lot had continued to argue with these two men, judgment would have fell upon him too. He would have been stuck in the city along with them. Sometimes you just got to let them go. Sometimes you got to let them deal with the judgment that they brought upon themselves. And once they deal with that judgment, that's between them and God. But as for me and my house, we're going to serve the Lord. we're not going to take these things funny. So, okay, you don't want to wear a mask and you want to do this and that. But as for me and my family, we're going to wear a mask and we're going to social distance. And if you want to stand too close to me, I'm going to ask you to take a couple of steps back. And if you don't want to take a couple of steps back, I'm going to take a couple of steps forward. And I'm going to ask you again to take a couple of steps back. Because whether you feel your life is worth, maybe you feel like your life is not worthy, whatever, I don't care. But I feel like my life is worth it. So I want you to really understand what's going on here. In this world of memes and jokes and laughter, look, I like a joke as much as the next man. And a good Christian joke, I'll laugh at that too. And if there's a good show on TV that depicts the church in a funny way, I'll watch it too. But these men, they were so bound up in the world that they lived in. They were so bound up in the world that they lived in that they couldn't see anything wrong with it. So it was just a joke to them. So I suggest this to say to all of those that are out there and you're struggling with family members and because these were family members, and you're struggling with people that think everything is so funny. Let them keep laughing. But don't let that take your salvation from you. Don't let that drag you down along with them. You keep your own salvation intact. And you keep your own health in the front of your mind. And let the fools deal with themselves. This is Sacred Life Baptist Church. My name is Reverend Aaron Gray. And until we meet again, may God be with you.